Today we're taking a look at the Fighter and the Paladin. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video. I know it has been a really long time since I've uploaded my last one, rather. I've been busy. I moved, as you can maybe see. The space is a little different. I gotta work on this ugly curtain behind me, these like gross shades.
That's disgusting!
In 2023, I really want to find the time to continue to make videos, to attempt to stick to a regular posting schedule, because I absolutely love the community that's already growing here. So thank you all to everybody who supported, who continues to support. Esel reads, thank you for your wonderful comment on the community post. I do in fact live.
He's alive.
This is the next video in my series of videos where I go over the classes in the PHB. At some point probably go over Tasha's and Xanathar's as well, although by the time I get to that it might be a moot point because 1D&D is coming out. So the Paladin is largely just fine as it is. I really just took a look at some of the channel divinity options for Devotion and Ancients, as well as the capstone feature for Devotion, and messed around with their oath spells, but I've always viewed oath and domain spells as pretty malleable, so not much to report there. Fighter, on the other hand, has some pretty big changes. Not to the whole class. There is one feature in particular that I've changed for the base class that I think you'll like. Messed around with some fighting styles, and then of course did a lot of subclass alterations with Champion, Battlemaster, and the Eldritch Knight. Now, some of the things that I hope to see in 1D&D specifically from the Fighter is I almost kind of hope that the Battlemaster maneuvers mechanic is actually extrapolated out to the entirety of the Fighter as a class. Because I think that for a lot of us, for me anyway, the Battlemaster fighter is kind of the archetypal fighter, you know, the person who's able to do very unique things in combat with weapons. That would be one thing I'd be very interested to see, and then maybe take the Battlemaster fighter and give them, you know, maybe deeper dives, make them be able to maneuver allies around the battlefield in a different way than any other fighter class could. That would be, I think, a really interesting design take to go with the Battlemaster if you take away the maneuvers from them specifically. But TBD, we'll find out what Wizards of the Coast does. And then I'd also like to see, and I've heard this is going to happen, so I'm very excited about it, but more benefits from specialization with certain types of weapons. Right now, basically weapons just boil down to what kind of damage dice you roll. But I would love to see more variance there, more options, more benefits to going down a particular road with a particular weapon, just because I think that would be a lot of fun and add some interesting customization to your fighters and other martial classes. But that's pretty much it for the intro, guys, so let's go ahead and dive into the computer and check out the changes. There's a few changes that I made to the baseline fighter. I believe that two-weapon fighting is such an iconic playstyle. It's so fun. It looks awesome. It's really good at low levels and then very quickly peters off almost as soon as extra attack hits the field. And as soon as people get into like levels 8 and up, especially with fighters, after which those big feats like Great Weapon Master and Polearm Master and Sharpshooter hit the field, because there are no feats for two-weapon fighting to sort of keep them up with damage output. So two-weapon fighting has been changed to this. I worked very closely with my friend Kyle on this. Thank you, Kyle, if you're out there, if you're watching this. But basically, when you engage in two-weapon fighting, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack, which is made as part of the attack action instead of as a bonus action. The amount of bonus offhand attacks you can take as part of the attack action increases to 2 at 11th level. I've got a little damage chart here that I will show you, but as you can see, basically I did the comparison 1 through 20 of a sword and board, a two-weapon, a great weapon, and an archer fighter. Now, the other major change that I made to the fighter class as a whole is Indomitable. Beginning at 9th level, whenever you fail a saving throw, you may choose to succeed instead. You can use this feature twice between long rests starting at 13th level and 3 times between long rests starting at 17th level. Now, a lot of you might think that this is busted, but I disagree. I think that the fighter they don't get proficiency in wisdom, charisma, intelligence, any of the saves against effects that are really debilitating. They don't get proficiency in dexterity saving throws, right? They get strength and con. Con is mostly damage, and strength is pretty rare, to be perfectly honest. So I think that giving the fighter the chance to just choose to succeed on a saving throw is awesome. I think it's the true spirit of Indomitable. You know, I think of Captain America at the end of Avengers Infinity War when he just cinches up the shield, like he just won't go down. and I like that a lot for the fighter. Let's move on into the subclass changes. The archetypal champion focuses on the development of raw physical power honed to deadly perfection. Those who model themselves on this archetype combine rigorous training with physical excellence to deal devastating blows. And I felt like what I've done is improve on the base level champion, make it more interesting without adding too much complexity, while also staying true to what I feel like the design philosophy for the champion is, which is it is a fighter that excels at very specifically like dealing hard-hitting strikes. So, third level feature, improved critical has been replaced with devastating strikes. Beginning when you choose this archetype at third level, your weapon attack score a critical hit on a 19 or 20, that's unchanged. But also beginning at third level, you may select one of the devastating strike options below. Once per turn, whenever you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can make the attack a devastating strike and cause one of the following effects. So you pick one, and that's the one you get. You can do Hobbling Strike. The target speed is reduced by 10 until the start of your next turn. Aiding Strike. You can give an ally within 30 feet of you advantage on their next attack roll against the target. I don't love this name, but it's all I could come up with, so there you go. Wounding Strike. You grievously wound the creature, and it takes additional damage equal to your proficiency bonus, which I think is a good scale. And then Maneuvering Strike. Whenever you hit a creature with an attack, you can move the creature up to 5 feet to an unoccupied space, provided the creature is no more than one size category larger than you. I think it's a fun way to increase the complexity and the contribution that a champion fighter can have, while not making it too complex for, you know, a new player. And then furthermore, whenever you gain a level in this class, you may change out your selection, so you can swap that selection whenever you level up. And at 10th level, you can select a second option from the list and add its effects, so they are cumulative. Remarkable Athlete is the next change. Starting at 7th level, you gain proficiency in athletics and acrobatics skills. If you already have proficiency with one or both of these skills, your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you make with it. So if you don't have proficiency, you get proficiency. If you have proficiency, you get expertise. You're athletic, you're buff, you're fast, you're acrobatic and nimble. I just think it fits really well with the flavor and the design philosophy of the fighter as a whole. And then of course I kept that you can add half your proficiency bonus to any strength, dex, or constitution check you make that doesn't already use your proficiency bonus. And then this I just stole from the athlete feat. Because I think it's fun. In addition, you only use 5 feet of movement to stand up from being prone, and when you make a running long jump, the distance you can cover increases by a number of feet equal to 5 times half your proficiency bonus. I'm not going for gritty realism when I'm playing a fighter. I want to be able to leap across huge chasms and feel like, you know, almost a superhumanly strong individual, right? This is D&D. We're playing this for fantasy. We're not playing it necessarily for realism. Then at 10th level, Weapons Master. Beginning at 10th level, you have achieved a mastery of discipline over your body and the weapons you wield. You gain the following benefits. Choose a second option, so I kept it. It's good. Keep it. But also, you gain proficiency with improvised weapons and have advantage on attack rolls against any creature you have grappled. Again, I just think this idea that you excel at like physical in close combat. Any good fighter or martial character from, you know, rather popular fiction and mainstream media has this ability to pick up anything, you know, like I think I mentioned this before, but that when I talked about the monk getting it, but like Riddick, when he picks up that teacup and kills that dude in that movie, it's fucking awesome. They are the deadly weapon. It doesn't matter what you put in their hands. They are the deadly weapon. And then beginning at 10th level, you may now use your devastating strikes twice per turn, provided they're against different targets. I just wanted it to be different targets because I wanted to avoid stacking too much on a single target. So they have to be against different targets. That's it. Superior critical is unchanged. I mean, getting an 18 or 20, you have a 15% chance of critting basically on any given turn. And then if you're grappling the creature, that even goes up further. So you're gonna crit a lot with this champion fighter. So I figured just leave that alone. And then finally, Survivor, the 18th level champion feature. At 18th level, pinnacle of resilience in battle. You have advantage on death saving throws. I added that. I just think it's fun. Like, you're just really hard to fucking kill. At the start of each of your turns, you regain hit points equal to half your fighter level plus your con mod. As written, it's 5 plus your con mod, I think. So, you know, anywhere from 8 to 10, depending on the fighter. With this, it just bumps that average up to 12 to 15. Like, some of the things that I'm throwing at my players, they're all level 16, and most of the things that they're hitting, you know, that are hitting them can do anywhere from, you know, 20 to 40 points of damage in a single hit if they hit you. So, 15 hit points is just not that much and helps the fighter stay in the fight and stay on their feet that much longer. So those are the changes to the champion. Let's move on to the Battlemaster. The Battlemaster combat superiority is unchanged. I think it's a great system. I love it. In fact, I talked about this, I think, in the intro, but I would love to see combat superiority actually extrapolated out to the whole of the fighter class. I think that maneuvers are what we kind of want out of the fighter class. I think that's why the Battlemaster is so appealing as a class to begin with. So I would love to see maneuvers become a part of the Battlemaster, or rather a part of the fighter class in or in 1D&D. But nevertheless, it's unchanged because I love the system. Next up, we have Student of War. As written in the book, you get Artisan's Tools, which is fine, but very much a ribbon feature, not really that, not gonna come up that often in my experience. So I added this additional feature. Whenever you make an intelligence, a history, or intelligence investigation check related to warfare or weaponry, you are considered proficient in those skills and add double your proficiency bonus to the check. I just love the idea of very situational expertise within classes in D&D. Think of Boromir in Lord of the Rings, right? Like, he sees Narsil and he knows. He's like, ooh, that's the sword, right? He's a soldier. Boromir's not smart, but he's a soldier and he knows what he knows as it relates to his domain, and that's what this is for. Next up is the 7th level feature, Know Your Enemy. Know Your Enemy, I would honestly allow my players to keep both versions, the out of combat version and then this one. The out of combat one, you have to spend a minute looking, and adventures are like kicking doors, you know what I mean? A lot of times you don't necessarily have that minute. Starting at 7th level, you can learn certain information about your enemies by carefully observing them in combat. While you are fighting one or more creatures, you can use your reaction to activate one of the effects listed below, and then immediately communicate that information. Size them up. When an ally misses an attack roll against a creature that you can see, you can learn the current armor class of that creature. Great. Plan your tactics. When an enemy creature that you can see succeeds on a saving throw, you can learn the value of the saving throw bonus that the creature used to make the save. This is not my design. I can't take credit for this. This is Kyle, my friend and DM. Great, fantastic Dungeon Master. He made this for our Battlemaster that I was playing alongside at our table, and it was awesome. Using this Plan Your Tactics, he's able to help us determine which spells to cast because his knowledge of enemies is such that he can determine where they're weakest, and it's so cool. And then finally, what strength remains, he's also used this one a ton, is like, hey, it's weak because immediately after an enemy creature that you can see takes damage, you can learn whether that creature's remaining hit points are more or less than half its maximum. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all uses after you finish a long rest. I just think this is so flavorful and on brand for the Battlemaster, and it really increases their in-combat utility and gives them additional things to do with their reaction to be that tactician and help their allies plan their tactics, which is fun. And then finally, we have improved combat superiority. I don't love this 10th level feature. I think it's good, but it's kind of boring. But for now, it's unchanged. And then the big change, there's two big changes, the 15th and 18th level features. So 15th, Relentless. As written, it's when you have no dice, you get one. I just changed it to starting at 15th level, when you roll initiative, you regain one superiority dice. And then the big one is you become immune to the frightened and charmed conditions. Obviously, it doesn't come on till very late, so that's good, I think, as it should. But I just love the flavor of it, and just like, I'm a fucking Battlemaster. You're not gonna frighten me or charm me. Like, I know my mission, and that's awesome. So I like it. And then I know technically, like, you're supposed to have 0 to regain 1. Sometimes it drives me nuts designing this stuff because people will be like, oh, well, what if you have max? And it's like, well, if you have max, then you don't get one. Like, be reasonable. I guess I could add, this cannot exceed your maximum number of superiority dice, but I don't want to clutter up my page. You fucking know what I mean. And then finally, 18th level, Archon of Battle. Beginning at 18th level, you've been so hardened by battle, you can bring low any foe. You gain the following benefits. Whenever you or an ally rolls a superiority die, you may roll the die twice and take either result. I love this. It's stolen straight from the Bard. I think it's dope, and you're not going to convince me otherwise. And then if you start your turn and have no superiority dice remaining, you regain 1. You always have a maneuver chambered. I just think at 18th level, you're in the big leagues, you always have a maneuver chambered, you always have one ready to go. You've got 3 attacks, so why not always have 1 dice? All right, and moving right along to the maneuvers. I'm honestly not gonna go over all these maneuvers that I changed. I changed some of them. You could see the changes in bold. Look at the document, it's linked down below. Moving on to the Eldritch Knight. This is an interesting one, and maybe the one I'm most unsure of, but I gave them up to 5th level spells. I just think that I think the Eldritch Knight should be a half caster. I know they're a fighter and they get more attacks, but usually, barring Action Surge, which is kind of the fighter's whole deal, if they're giving up their action, they're not making any more attacks than any other martial, right? They're using their action to cast a spell until you get to 18th level, in which case, whatever, but we'll get into that. And then the other ones is I changed the spells they learn at 9th, 13th, and 17th level can come from any school of magic, because that's when they get their first, 3rd, 4th, and 5th level spell, respectively. This is all malleable, guys. It's a game, do what you want with it, right? Is this for us? It's for us, so that's why I make this kind of stuff. Weapon Bond is, I just added that it can be used as a spellcasting focus. I always thought it was weird that the Eldritch Knight can't, so I just added that in. And then War Magic. This is a big one, and this is potentially where we might get into a little bit of trouble as far as balance goes. But I just gave them what the Blade Singer gets because I think that that's always been what they should have. When you use your action to take the attack action, you can replace one of your attacks with a cantrip from the wizard spell list. I put from the wizard spell list because there is some shenanigans that you can get into and some fuckery with like Eldritch Blast, because you can get 4 beams, which is, you know, crazy. So I made sure, and actually one of my players, shout out to Matt, thank you for pointing that out to me. He was like, well, what about Eldritch Blast? And I was like, oh, shit. So it just gives you more versatility, I think, and allows for some interesting things that the Eldritch Knight can do. And I just think that this is what they always should have had, so why not give it to him? Eldritch Strike, unchanged, I think it's pretty good. At first when I saw it, I didn't think it was that great, but then I thought about the number of attacks that a fighter gets, and I was like, okay, this is actually a good feature. Arcane Champion, I changed the 15th level feature to be better because it wasn't that good. You're limited to, I think, once per short rest until really late tiers of play. I don't remember when you get the second use of Action Surge. So it's like a once per short rest teleport was just not good enough for me. So I added, at 15th level, your time spent in battle has hardened you to the effects of magic. You gain resistance to damage dealt by spells. I almost thought about giving them advantage on saving throws against spells. I think that might be too good. Of all the things spells can do, damage is one of the least frightening. You know, when you combine an Eldritch Knight who has Indomitable and Arcane Champion, you start to get a really, really cool fighter who, as they get more and more powerful, is harder and harder to shut down with magic, which I think is really cool, especially given the, you know, kind of caster martial disparity that already exists that I talked about a little bit. Won't go into it too much, but it exists. I think we all have to acknowledge that it exists, so why not give the fighter this? And then finally, improved war magic. Starting at 18th level, when you use your action to cast a spell, you can make 2 weapon attacks as a bonus action. Now this can get silly with Action Surge and the ability of the Eldritch Knight to Nova, because they could do like action cast a spell, Action Surge do 4 attacks, and then, or 3 attacks at 18th level, and then bonus action do 2 more. So they're getting 5 attacks plus a spell on a turn, but then that's their turn. That's Action Surge. That's kind of the point of the fighter. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But those are the changes for the fighter. I would love to know your guys' thoughts on all of those. And let's move into the Paladin. The Paladin is by far one of the strongest base classes that exists. I talked about this a little bit in the intro, but the Paladin is mostly fine. The Vengeance Paladin, I didn't even touch, because why? It's largely regarded as one of the best Paladin subclasses, if not the best, and it's definitely the best one in the Player's Handbook. So what I did do is change the Channel Divinity options and one of the capstone abilities of the 2 other subclasses presented in the PHB, which is Devotion and Ancients. So let's get into it. Oath of Devotion. Changed a little bit about their spells. I've always viewed oath spells, domain spells, all of that is malleable. Like at my table, if a player wants to change them, I'm gonna let them change them most of the time within reason. Sacred Weapon, I just made it a bonus action. It's what we all wanted. It's kind of their whole deal. They only get to do it once. Most combats last between 2 to 4 rounds. I don't like using my action to power up, so to speak. I want to be effective with my action every time that I can, so I make it a bonus action. And then their other Channel Divinity, Castigate the Wicked. As an action, you present your holy symbol, blah, blah, blah. Each hostile creature that you can see, that can see or hear you within 30 feet of you, must make a wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails its saving throw, it is frightened of you for 1 minute. An affected creature that's misspelled can repeat the save at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. I just think it's cool that the Oath of Devotion Paladin can frighten things. I just think that's dope. So I made it each hostile creature because you're devoted. Anything that's hostile to you is probably evil, so you can frighten the evildoers with the sheer magnitude of your presence. I think that's fun. And then finally, Holy Nimbus. At 20th level, as a bonus action. I like things powering up as bonus actions. I don't like actions that make me power up. I don't like it. So as a bonus action, for 1 minute or until you are incapacitated, bright light shines from you in a 30-foot radius, dim light, blah, blah, blah. And then when you use this ability, any darkness created by a spell of 5th level or lower within the area of the bright light is dispelled. Holy Nimbus, you banish darkness. I like it, I think it's cool. Stole it from the Light Cleric. This part's unchanged, but on your turn, you can use a bonus action to give 10 hit points to an ally within the area of bright light. I just think that little extra healing of buff, or that little buff ability, that little extra healing of like 10 hit points, get up, is cool. And again, at 20th level, and then in addition, for the duration, you have advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Paladin capstones are all dope. They're all dope, except for Devotions as it was written. So That's why I did it this way. I just think it's a fucking sweet capstone. You only get to do it once a day unless you spend one of your 5th level slots to do it again. Some people look at these 20th level features that I give and I think they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. We're at 20th level. We get like 10 sessions here max. We are superheroes. We spent anywhere from 2 to 4 years playing to get to this point. Why not? Like, go nuts. I don't care. Pretty soon, I'm gonna kick you back to level 1. So, smoke them if you got them. Anyway, moving on to the Ancients. So Ancients, Oath of Ancients, Tenets of the Ancients, all that's unchanged. I gave them some additional better spells. I think you can take a look at them at the PDF. And then finally, their Channel Divinity, Nature's Wrath. You can use your Channel Divinity to invoke primeval forces to ensnare your foes. I always thought it was dumb that you could only do it to one creature, and that it was an action. So as a bonus action, you can cause spectral vines to spring up to reach for any number of creatures within 30 feet of you that you can see. The creature must succeed on strength or dexterity saving throw, its choice, or be restrained. And then while restrained by the vines, the creature takes piercing damage at the start of each of its turns equal to half your paladin level rounded down, and this magic damage is considered magical. Remember, paladins only get their 1 Channel Divinity per short rest. The creatures get a chance to save, and they can repeat the save at the end of each of their turns and end it on a success. It's a really cool use of the ability. I think it fits really well with the flavor of the Ancients. You're summoning nature, right? I just think it's dope. And then finally, turn the Faithless. The Faithless, I just opened up the amount of creatures. I didn't like that it was just Fae and Fiends, so I made it Beasts, Elementals, Fae, Fiends, and Plants. That's what I turned that one into. And that is it, you guys. That is everything. Those are all of the changes that I made to the Fighter and the Paladin classes. I would love to hear your guys' comments, your thoughts down below. Let me know if you like any of these things, if you don't like any of these things, what you think, you know, what changes you're excited to see in either of these classes coming up in 1D&D, because there's a lot of fun things coming. I've really enjoyed some of the content that they put out so far, and I'm excited to see what comes next. So don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you guys think, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you all so much, and see you later.